Hey everybody, Caleb here, back again with another video all about Booleans. They're one final type that we need to discuss before we dive into collection types. And so let's go ahead and create a quick playground, let's talk about them really briefly, and then let's go ahead and dive into actually using Booleans. So, create a blank playground and go ahead and call it Booleans, like so. Click create, and we're gonna go ahead and make this a bit bigger. Let's center it and then pull over the little readout on the right. And we can get rid of this first variable here. And I'm going to go ahead and say var is light on. And right now my lights are on, so I could say true, and that would set the status of that variable. Now, of course, true, the opposite is false, and Booleans can either be true or false. We learned that in a previous video. But there are a few things that we need to know about working with Booleans that are really helpful. And one is called the Unary Operator. Another is called a binary operator. And the third one is called a ternary operator. And as you might have guessed, this means 1, 2, and 3. And we'll see what these mean in the context of Booleans. Now, unary basically means one, and what this means is that a unary operator operates on one thing. So if I type is light on, I can use the unary operator. I called it the logical not sign, but basically I can use that exclamation mark to invert the value. I'm operating only on one item here, is light on. I set that to be equal to the opposite of is light on. The unary operator in this instance is the exclamation mark. An example of binary operators are where there are two pieces of information that are reliant upon each other that work together. So an example actually is just creating a variable. Var is Batman amazing equals true. The is Batman amazing variable and the true value, those are working together. And this line of code is essentially operating on two targets. So the is Batman amazing is equal to true. They are one and the same in this line of code. That is how the binary operator works, and we can see this in a bunch of other ways, like var name equals Caleb. Name and Caleb are the two operators working on one another. I could do var year is 2018. Of course, I need to remember my equals sign. These are all examples of binary operators. Now, you might be wondering, what is ternary operator? A ternary operator operates on three different things, and it allows for our code to have a little bit more complexity. So what I can do is I can create a variable called var is it dark, and I'll set it to false, because if the light is on, it is not dark, it is light in my room. Now, if I were to use the ternary operator and set it to be dependent on is light on, I could type is it dark is equal to is light on. And if I run this, check out what happens. It says false, which doesn't seem to make sense because it's true up here, but remember, we just set this to be opposite. So let's go ahead and disable this line. In order to do that, if you want to comment out a line of code, you can select a line of code and then do command \, and it's going to comment out that line of code. And if I run it again, you'll see that is it dark is equal to true when the light is on, but that does not actually make sense, because if the light is on, it should not be false. So what I can do is I can go ahead and say is it dark equals is light on question mark false. So what that means is this is like an if statement, which I've already shown you. Is it dark equals is light on if it's false. Okay, so if it is false, set it to false. Otherwise, we're going to set it to true. So if I run this, you'll see that is it dark is equal to false because the light is on. Now, if I turn the light off, watch what happens. It inverts. Is it dark is then equal to true, because this is saying, hey, if the value of is light on is false, we're going to set it to be equal to true. Otherwise, if it is true, we're going to invert the value and set it to false. So that is the ternary operator. It's pretty complex, but there are some really powerful use cases for it. Let's head on over to the next video and let's start learning about collections in Swift, like the array and the dictionary. I'll see you there.